Hey, welcome everyone to more Legacy in my channel. Let's look at some new cards today. This card, Similac from Synthesizer, is a very exciting card for multiple formats. So let's give it a go in Legacy here and see how it holds up. So 3-mana artifact. When it enters Scry 2, that's always a nice bonus. Here comes the important part. Whenever another artifact with mana value 3 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, create a 0/0 colorless construct artifact creature with this creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. So basically the same tokens you produce out of Ursa Saga. So when you see this card, you immediately start to think about stuff like Frogmite, Mirror Enforcer, and stuff like that of the past. So this deck's creator definitely tried to go down that path. So what do we have that actually will actually trigger the synthesizer? For Frogmites, for Thought Monitor, and for, it's not quite Mirror Enforcer, but it's just better, right? It has Artifact Land Cycling, you can cycle it in a pinch. So you kind of have those cards that will trigger the synthesizer, so not that much. Which, let's see how that goes. This is a Chalice of the Void deck, which is, part of, the good openings, just Ancient Tomb Chalice of the Void. That'll put a lot of decks in the format in a pinch. I'm a bit worried about the 5 1-drops here. We have main deck Graveyard Hate, main deck good equipment for racing, Needle for whatever, another equipment that's good for racing, the Boots, and an out for stuff like Murktide Regent and Merit Lage. I have a feeling one of these 1-drops shouldn't be in here, and we should play some kind of consistency card. Oh, by the way, I forgot about this. It's the Carrion Infiltrator, a Warhammer 40 card, I believe. 3-mana, flash. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. So that card is good with Synthesizer, because it's a 3-drop artifact. And if you have like more mana later in the game, you can pay the squad count and make more guys. The mana base is kind of straightforward. We have some soul lands. We're up to 5. A couple of Otawara to go basically be like an island with, upside in longer games. We have 4 Seed of the Sign It's a single island for, I don't know. Could be good with a basic island. It's kind of a niche these days, but can't hurt. A couple of Tree of Tales. We'll get back to that, but it's basically just another artifact land. 4 Ursa Saga. 8 0-drop accelerants. Then there's Patchwork, which is like the bread and butter aggro card. You play that early, it just grows throughout the game. Colorless Tarmogoyf, etc., etc. 4 copies of Metallic Rebuke. This is like our only countermeasure against broken decks, aside from Chalice of the Void Game 1. So I'm excited to see how awkward it is to hold up mana for this, how my opponent plays, etc. Sideboard addresses like the big players in the metagame, the red decks, the fast combo decks, the graveyard decks, and Haywire Might with Ursa Saga is just like disenchant-ish effect you can tutor up. And then we don't want to get milled out, so we play a copy of Emrakul as well. There's members, I guess, just against any creature strategy, that being like Goblins, Initiative, Delver, you name it. I'm going to take this for a spin, and then we can kind of see what we think about the deck afterwards. I don't know what to expect, to be honest. Could be completely bonkers, could be just not a very refined build. Who knows? Let's see what happens in the games. Okay, round 1, we won the die roll, which is always good. Already a tough choice here. So what if I go Seed of the Synod, Lotus Petal, play Automaton, tapped out. Next turn, I play Seed of the Synod, I have 3 artifacts. That means 1 mana Frogmite. That will put me at 4 artifacts. I feel like I should wait a turn. This Petal might help me. So if I go Seed of the Synod, pass. Turn 2 Patchwork, then Petal. Then free Frogmite. Okay. Yeah, I think the sequencing and how, I don't want to say how greedy, but how much you should kind of squeeze the deck, test it to the limit. I think it is kind of hard. Also, because I have Thought Monitor in hand, I really want to, cast that card at some point. It's pretty hard. I would imagine if you're going to be an expert with this deck, you should definitely think about that a bit more, but let's see if my logic holds true. Three of Tails, not a terrible draw. So I go Patchwork. You could get dazed here. That's the thing when you have to like sequence your stuff. I think that's reasonable. I play out the Frogmite because I want to put up kind of a clock, but I do play Synthesizer, so there's a bit of conflict there. Worth noting is I'm holding up Rebuke, and I can Thought Monitor next turn. Okay, looks like we're up against some kind of control deck. Maybe it's Dreadnought? Let's see. I like the fair plane we're working with here. Patchwork's kind of annoying to deal with. It's my opponent's making it very, very tempting to counter this brainstorm, but I'm not gonna do it. My opponent kept the card on top with the Surveil. Let's say they bottom the spell and then cast this brainstorm. Then I think I would be more inclined to counter it. Here's Savannah. Savannah, nothing. I like that. So I have 5 artifacts in play. Now I have 6, so Thought Monitor is now a 1-drop, and I can wait with my land drop here, cast my draw 2 first. Patchwork already getting kind of out of hand. Synthesizer, nice draw. I think it's okay to take 2 damage to hold up more mana here. Let's scry 2. The Spear is probably better than a random card. Let's attack for 8. I have my opponent dead next turn. I have a counter backup. So the reason to play this Ancient Tomb is I can tap Mox Opal alongside Thought Monitor and Synthesizer to play Rebuke and hold up Pedal for the Days. So let's see, how much damage do I have here? I have 10, so playing this out is going to be great. I feel like I can equip the Patchwork here. Equip Patchwork. My opponent might have like Plow or Leyline Binding, but they also need a Force of Will on top of that, so like my spot. Plow taps my opponent out. So let's counter ping with that, and that. I think it's fine. Opponent needs to force. They don't. Oh, okay. So we're playing against probably some kind of Beanstalk control. I can't imagine that's like a great matchup, but who knows? I actually don't have any sideboard for it, so the lifelink is kind of bad. Yeah, we have some bad cards here. Is there anything we can do about that? Does Dismember do anything? I don't think so. Maybe just keep the artifacts. I think they're quite bad, but like, let's say the Spell Bomb isn't very good. The Needle, who knows? I mean, I'm okay with playing that card in this matchup. We don't know what the opponent's going to throw at us, obviously. The Shadow Spear is unlikely to matter. So yeah, I can see the strategy in general being bad against control, because you kind of have to address the unfair part of the format with your sideboard, because you don't play Force of Will, right? So that's oftentimes the stuff you have to think about when you're playing like Ancient Tomb decks. It's like, which decks do I want a chance against? Which decks am I, just trusting the deck? Huh. I mean, I think this hand is a keep, but it might be something kind of terrible where I have to crack a pedal to cycle my my Salamander. That's not my favorite part of the game. Ugh. Okay. So question is, what's more important, cycling or probably playing Chalice is probably cycling. I just lose if my opponent goes like Beanstalk, Force of Will my spell, this and that. But that's what we signed up to do here. I do it end of turn even though it feels horrible. Draw Rebuke, doesn't do anything. I'll play the Chalice. I mean, playing the Patchwork is possible, but I think it's bad. I think especially playing against cards like Swords to Plowshares, Brainstorm, Ponder. I need my opponent to have a lot of those to win this game, I feel like. Maybe if I draw a land and I can go Synthesizer, maybe I have a chance then. Here's Uros, the time is kind of ticking. Rebuke should give me a shot against that card, though. There's the land. Here's Seed of the Synod. Okay, so I feel like I should play Simulacrum Synthesizer out first. And then kind of go from there. Wow, these cards are insane. So I have 4 artifacts in play. That's going to be a 0-mana Frogmite. Yeah, this is awesome. So now I basically just established a great fair plan where my opponent needs to get busy here. Of course, there are cards like Terminus, like Leyline Binding. Leyline Binding is actually brutal here, but it is what it is. No Leyline Binding, so my opponent could be playing this smart. I'm gonna play this Frogmite out, holding up Rebuke. Wow, okay, so I just get to go nuts here. I have to think about the Automaton, but I want to hold up Counter Magic, so I think I'm just supposed to wait. How many artifacts do I have? 6, right? Yeah, I have 6. Okay, so let's play 1-mana Thought Monitor. With a card like that, if you get Terminus, it's like it happens, right? You kind of have big refill here. So I already feel like my opponent needs Terminus to win this game. So maybe, and I can't. So Terminus from hand, I can counter. Huh. So let's play an artifact. I'm thinking about what to do here. I could go Patchwork, hold up counter. I could also try and resolve another Synthesizer. Then what if I get Terminus? Then I have a Synthesizer in play. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 artifacts. I play Companion with Rebuke backup, and I'm like right back into the game. Okay. Okay. We try and go crazy here. I do like that card. So I pass the turn. I have 1,000,000 power in play. My opponent needs a Terminus. Land Terminus would be annoying, but I can't imagine they play that many Terminus. It's like between 0 and 2, so I think this is okay. Especially considering the comeback I have here. Okay. I don't think my opponent needs to draw so many Solitudes to not die here. Some kind of meltdown card. Okay. Well, that's not gonna do it, buddy. Okay, we managed to beat not a very strong control draw here. But yeah, this card is bonkers. Like my fear about this card is it makes you play cards like Sojourner's Companion and Frogmite that aren't, the best individual cards. But sometimes it's very hard to evaluate whether the sum of the parts, how how good the synergy is versus how good the individual card quality is. But that's why we're here today. So yeah, let's play some more matches. Okay, round 2 is upon us. Let's have a look at this hand. We have Ursa's Saga, which can eventually go get something. We have Mox Opal, we have Chalice. But I think this is a mulligan. Like, this hand doesn't do anything until the Saga goes off. So, yeah, we should definitely try and look for some better stuff. This is way better. So I can bottom a Chalice of the Void, play turn 1 Chalice for 1, and kind of move from there. I like that. So keep, get rid of that. Ancient Tomb, Chalice of the Void, all of that jazz. Let's see. So now Frogmite is a 2-mana card. I can not squat the Infiltrator yet, but if I go Frogmite next turn, I can. Here's Grief, opponent pitching Entomb, which is, I mean, one of the points of playing Chalice of the Void. I feel like my opponent should take the Infiltrator here. I think that card is just more annoying down the road, drawing 2 cards at some point. If I... Yeah, it's tough. Like, what do I do here? Do I play the Frogmite? Then what if I draw Synthesizer? All of those questions I don't have a good answer to. Opponent can mill over a 1-drop. Here's Tree of Tails. Tree of Tails gives me Metalcraft. So I don't need the Frogmite for Metalcraft. I'm actually gonna pass here. Because if I draw the Synthesizer, it's just so much better to get a big construct. The bad thing is, let's say my opponent, I don't know, land Animate Den on the Grief, right? Then I lose the Frogmite, where I could have had a 2-2 in play, but I think it's worth it. Let's see. My good draws are, you know, Saga, Synthesizer, Thought Monitor, stuff like that. But I actually have a lot of bad draws as well, including the 1-drops. Yeah, I'll just keep playing lands here. I don't think I'm in a hurry with that Frogmite. Also, I have to think about Bowmasters, actually. But, I mean, don't think I can do anything about that. Oh, there goes Chalice back to my hand. Pretty excited to see what's going on here. Hopefully it's just like Reanimate Grief, take the Chalice, we play on, something like that. But who knows? Chalice of the Void is usually buying a lot of time, but if you don't do anything relevant in the meantime, then, yeah, it just doesn't matter. Opponent with a Brainstorm here, anything can happen. Cycle Troll. Is there a Reanimate at the end of this rainbow? Reanimate Grief, take the Chalice, and we play on. Okay, so this is potentially beatable. Synth. Synthesizer. Thought Monitor. Otawara. Otawara. Now I would feel great if my opponent reanimated the troll, but not this time, not this time. Okay, so now I just lose. Yeah, bouncing Atraxa doesn't really help. Opponent still draws a ton of cards. There's even a Stifle. Force of Will. Okay. We can move on here. That was not fun. Let's bring in the Cage alongside 3 Macabres. Let's not care about... Actually, I think I want Dismembers as well. I don't care for Shadow Spear. I don't care for that. I don't care for that. Still need to cut 3 cards, though, so maybe either Spellbomb isn't the best. I don't think that deck is on Murktide. We can always cut a Rebuke, I feel like. I think the card is kind of situational. Maybe even 2. So I have Lantern and Cage as Saga targets if we get there. Yeah, let's run it back. Sometimes your hand doesn't like do anything, but if you can make your opponent do less and your hand has potential to, unlock a lot of good draws, that can make your hand like good. Not good in itself, but the potential can be good. It's always kind of tough because it feels so bad that you just draw 3 lands in a row and you lose, but it's kind of the same with all decks. Like, you can also brainstorm into 3 bad cards and lose. So you just felt like you had the agency, but really didn't. So a lot of evaluation with Stompy decks. It's like, what's likely to have happened X turns from now, and is that competitive in the context of my opponent's deck's power level? Or before, where it's like, is that, yeah, I have a Chalice of the Void for 1, and that'll stomp X amount of the format, so that's why it's a good keep, right? And then what actually happens, we can't really do much about, like, what do we draw, what they draw, which deck they decided to play today, stuff like that. Okay, this hand is cool. I have turn 1 Patchwork, then play Opal, and then I have a Lantern for the following turn. There is something to be said about considering playing out Soul Guide turn 1, but I think that's too weak, so I'm not going to do that. I also need to beat my opponent's, let's call it fair plan, right? So I need to get going here. I didn't do the math on if I can Thought Monitor turn 2. That would be pretty sick. I have Artifact Land, that's 3, Lantern. Maybe. Let's see. Companion is a cool one, so let's go Soul Guide Lantern. This goes to 3. Resolve. Let's play the Monitor. If I get dazed, it is what it is. I'm really putting pressure on here on the play. If my opponent dazes back the land here. Okay. So yeah, Soul Guide pretty good here. Draw 2. Let's see if we can draw zeros. Chalice with 0 doesn't really count. I could go for Chalice with 0, but I don't think that damage is worth it. Let's attack for 4. My opponent needs to like overpower the Soul Guide Lantern while getting attacked. I think that's going to be tough. There's a Wasteland I don't care about. I mean, I'm the aggro here, so... yeah. Let's respond. My opponent needs like another Entombment and another Reanimation spell to... And that's just not going to happen through the Chalice of the Void, right? So let's go Chalice for Uno. That's artifact number 5 to those counting. So I can play first the Saga, resolve the trigger, and then play Companion around base. Attack for 8. And yeah, I don't see losing this game. We put on a lot of aggro here. And we had, very importantly, the Lantern, because this aggro would have been crushed by Atraxa, so... Okay. So, pretty straightforward. I do have 3 Copies of Fairy Macabre. I think this card can completely destroy our opponent, especially now that they just lost to permanent-based hate Soul Guide Lantern. So, the information game is kind of huge when you play Magic in general, and because Magic is like an emotional game where Soul Guide Lantern, I better not give my opponent time to do that or whatever. And then Fairy Macabre can really punish rushed plays. I'm thinking about a third Rebuke, but I don't know what to remove for it, so I might not go for it. I play the Dismembers basically as hedge against a fast reanimated troll, and it's nice to kill. It's nice to kill Orcish Bowmasters if you have Thought Monitor, but it's not like the best card. It's fine. You can argue this card is, let's call it expendable. Let's just do like this. All right, game 3 here against the boogeyman of the format. I have Fairy Macabre, so I can't mulligan. We do get kind of smoked by Grief, but it is what it is. Mm-hmm. Grief is so good against whatever the opponent can have, right? Okay, so my opponent actually lets me get rid of the Grief. Am I supposed to do that? Or is that a trap? I think I'm gonna do it. Basically, right now, I'm hoping my opponent's hand is a reanimation spell, and they kind of messed up here. And it turns out it was a misclick. But as I said, there is a world where you want your opponent to use their Fairy Macabre or Surgical Extraction here, and then get more value out of the Grief, right? Let's see what they go for. Always cool to have a play against the viewer. Let's see what they end up taking here. Take Lotus Petal. That is surprising, I would say. Yeah, I mean, I can't beat, like, Entomb, Reanimate, or whatever, so by exiling the Grief, I give myself a chance to win in case my opponent has, like, I don't know, double Reanimate or something. So we draw an Artifact land. It was a terrible draw. This game is going to be very scrappy. I have a hard time imagining me winning this game, but let's see. Troll Cycle, and that card is also going to be tough to beat, but we have Otawara. Okay, I'm going to take 6 here. We have Otawara. But my opponent also plays Stifle, so there's that. Can't really do anything but go Patchwork. Ooh, maybe I shouldn't have shown Seed of the Synod, actually. There's a chance I shouldn't have shown this, because when my opponent griefed me, I didn't have the Seed of the Synod. It would have been very high-level play, but I don't think it's unreasonable to do. The bad situation comes when... is there even any bad? Yeah, I would have to play it out next turn anyway, because I want to hold up Rebuke. I'm taking 6 here, and I'm taking 6 one more time. We know that, so... yeah, this is not ideal. Here's Orcish Bowmasters. Okay. So my opponent plays around Rebuke. I don't mind that. That's fine. That was a very good draw because, 1, it grows my Patchwork so my opponent can attack with small boys. And 2, I can now at least attempt to bounce the troll. Let's see if it works. My opponent does play at least one Stifle. That would be brutal. Okay, here's the brutal Stifle. And that'll probably do it. I need to draw Dismember off the top of my deck, I feel like. Oh, my opponent even has another Bowmaster. Can I beat that in any world? So yeah, I have to block here. But that's probably gonna be game. I don't think my opponent has the bluff. That is definitely gonna do it here. We lose our guy, we go to 6. My opponent has double Bowmaster. And we draw another counterspell. Okay, so we really got owned here by Stifle and Atraxa. Kind of showcased the weaknesses of the deck. You know, sitting there not doing anything. Your opening hand is a Chalice of the Void, and you kind of hope for your draw step to bail you out. That doesn't happen always. So yeah, that puts us at 1-1. Let's play one more match for this deck before we wrap it up. All right, so third and last round with this beautiful blue synthesizer deck. We won the die roll. I have turn 1 Chalice. I should probably do that. I think cracking a pedal to do that is fine. Then turn 2 I go versus Saga, play Frogmite maybe. Kind of sad to sack a pedal here, but it's definitely worth it against enough of the field, so it is what it is. Chalice of the Void hits the stack. Let's hope my opponent doesn't play Magic. It's kind of funny. Like we love to play Magic, but when you register cards like Chalice of the Void, Blood Moon, etc., you hope your opponent doesn't play Magic. Kind of funny. Boots. Okay, so play Ursa Saga. Play Boot. Get countered. Pass the turn. Okay. That was not ideal. So that card should have been in my hand, and I wanted a Frogmite in play basically. So I lost out on playing a Frogmite that turn. Like strategically in hand, this card doesn't do anything, but I didn't get to play Frogmite, so it hurt me. Now I should think a little bit. Yeah, I think if I make the dude and play Frogmite, I think that's better. Even though it's like kind of sad to do sorcerer speed. Let's see. So now I have a little bit of power in play, depending on what kind of deck my opponent's on. Could be good. Okay, okay. Could be up against that deck once more. I really like the Chalice then. And next turn I can play... Kind of depends. Oh. Red as well. Okay, I don't know what we're up against then. I don't really want to play into Bowmasters. Pull against command. I love that card. Wait. Why did he kill Frogmite? Am I getting dressed down in a bit? Ooh, this is a brutal day. Brutal day at the office. I guess I go Opal. I have 5 artifacts, that's 1 short. If I get dressed down here, it's Brutality. Wow. This is a cool picture as well. I've never seen it before. Ponder, sure. Some kind of Grixis control here. But the way my opponent killed the Frogmite, it has Dress Down written all over it. Baleful Strix. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Let's play Frogmite. Let's play, I don't know, 1 mana 4/4. If there's a world my opponent Forcer wills that, perfect. Guess I want to resolve my draw 2. Here comes Thought Monitor, resolves. Awesome for me. Automaton. Companion. Attack for 10. Put my opponent to 3. Which cards get my opponent back in the game here that's like reasonable to play in Legacy? I can't really think of any. Because now I don't care about like Dress Down or whatever. Okay, Grixis Control. And it's actually a problem I don't have much stuff for that deck. Ooh. Playing the boots into the Chalice, that was a legendary play. I mean, I want to play those two. And I guess I could play a couple of Hydros because I don't want Boots. I don't want Needle. I don't even think I want Shadow Spear, but I mean, who knows? I'll just keep this for like anti-Snapcaster stuff. And it's a cantrip, so it's not that bad. Okay, Pull Against Command. I love playing that card back in the day. I played it at a few Legacy tournaments that I did well in, and I believe we played it at the Team Pro, no, not Team Pro Tour, Team GP, where we qualified for the Team Pro Tour back in 2018. My good friend Thomas Enevolson was on the control deck, and I believe it was 4-color control at the time, like Leovold, Call Against Command, all that jazz. Okay, we're on the draw here. Opponent took a mulligan. We have turn 1 Chalice of the Void. We don't mind getting forced on the first one. Then I can go turn 2 Synthesizer. Another Chalice. Maybe that's not that good. Especially when you factor in that I sometimes play into my own Chalice. Chalice for 1 resolved. But the thing is, if my... okay. If I missed a land drop there. Here's Automaton. But I think the way to go here is play Synthesizer and get that in, hopefully get that into play. What can we scry into? We can scry into Frogmite, which is currently a 2-drop. And we have a counter underneath. Maybe that counter spell is not that good. I like the Frogmite, though. Then I can go, like, Patchwork. Okay, that was kind of terrible. My opponent didn't find a land. So what could we do here? We could untap, pay 2 life, play Patchwork. That puts us at 3 artifacts. Pay 1 mana, play Frogmite. That gives us a 5/5. If I want to, I can play out Chalice with 0 to, you know, help with Thought Monitor next turn, grow the Automaton, grow the token. But the math would have to be kind of specific for me to do that as a good idea. Okay, that match wasn't the best. Let's play one more. All right, last round of today's video. I'm playing Mono Blue Synthesizer, and this looks like a keep to me. So let's see, what can we do here? We have turn 1 Seed of the Synod, double pedal, pass the turn. Then we kind of hope our opponent plays something where we can rebuke by tapping the 2 pedals, not sacrificing. And then we can kind of go from there, but this could fall flat for sure. Let's say we get wastelanded or we don't find our next land. Could be very bad. You can even convince me this wasn't the keep. Okay. So Seed of the Synod, pedal, pass. I'm not going to say I'm countering anything, but the bar isn't that high for what I counter here. Grief. I definitely counter that. Pitch Unmask. Scary stuff. So, counter, pay. Pay 3 more mana, buddy. This is a tough matchup, I think. Very tough, because they're so fast. Reanimate the Grief. Okay. So, that is beatable compared to, let's say, reanimating something crazy. But we still need some help. What if I draw Artifact Land? Then I crack one pedal to play a 4/4? The good thing about that is it's actually racing the Grief. Artifact Land? Ancient Tomb, maybe even better. Or just the same, I guess. So I go F3 Artifact, so you cast this, it checks, tells you, hey dude, I'm a 4-drop. Play Salamander, pass. Now if I draw any land, I can squad. I can squat the Infiltrator. If I don't, I can still play it off of Tomb and Seat as a cantrip. Opponent cycles. Hopefully no second reanimate, then I'm in trouble. Just thought sees me, opponent. Ugh. Okay. Okay. Grief getting in there. I'm at 15. That's not a terrible draw. So let's play Infiltrator with no squad. Draw. Okay. Idiot Traders was a bad one. I have to pass. I do play 2 copies of Otawara. What else do I play that can get me out of this? Like the Spear can get me out of this. I think everything else is too late. My opponent passes here. Okay. We might have some time then. Synthesizer. Let's play a land to save some life here. Synthesizer. Into another synthesizer. I mean, we take that, so let's pass. What happens if the opponent attacks with Troll? Oh, okay. That's why the opponent slowed down. That made a lot of sense. Now I just lose to whatever creature they decide to beat me with here. Interesting game. It's always like, oh, can't win. Oh, can lose. Oh, can win. Oh, maybe there's a chance. Oh, can win. It's kind of an emotional roller coaster playing against Reanimator. Dark Ritual. Ah, okay, because they want like mana post attracts a trigger. Okay, got it. Dance of the Dead. Okay. It's been a while since I've seen that card. I believe it enters tapped. But I'm not drawing a card that helps me here, so we can just concede here. Because Atraxa's coming in next turn. Yes, more entombing. I play Synthesizer, I get a big creature. Okay. Fair enough. Also Archon. Okay, so getting smoked by Reanimator is not like the biggest shock in the world. There's something to be said about those Mindbreak traps. I want to consider that card. So Spear sucks, that sucks. I think if you focus on post reanimation, you're already kind of lost. So I'm not going to do that. Let's cut Infiltrator and cut one more card. I'm fitting a couple of mine. Maybe it's just Metallic Rebuke. Maybe just that card as a 4 of is just a lot. In general. Okay. Let's see. This hand is funny. Yeah, I think this hand is a keep. I basically want my opponent to go Dark Ritual, Entomb, Reanimation or something, right? The cool thing about this hand is I have Hardcast Trap. So I don't think I can play this Frogmite. I need Hardcast Trap. Maybe my opponent's thinking Hardcast Force, which is kind of the same. Also, we hang on to the Frogmite if we draw Synthesizer. Not that bad. But in general, this matchup is about not dying. My opponent's passing here. It looks like they are respecting the counter, and they want to get to a natural cleanup. So now I can go Chalice for Uno, play land, play 0 mana Frogmite, pass. My opponent goes to cleanup, gets a creature in the yard. I'm insulated against the card Reanimate, but I'm not insulated against, Animate Dead, Dance of the Dead, etc. Thought Monitor. Oh, so tough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's a 2-drop. Okay, I'll bite. I'll bite because I still have Hardcast Trap up. This is kind of a cool game. Oh, okay. We need to do the trick here. So we need to click the card, checks, and then we go Thought Monitor. Okay. These cards are cool and all, but I think I need to Mindbreak Trap before I try and unload. Even though it is a conflict, you want to stop your opponent or do you want to win faster? The fact that I lose to, that card is a problem. Yeah, go for it. So my opponent can have many things here. They can even just take 4 more damage, but Lotus Petal would be the biggest card here. Yeah, Grief is just so good. You just clear the way the turn you're trying to win. So good. So now it obviously looks silly for not playing Synthesizer, but I think it was a good play. There's Shenanigans. So my opponent has the card Reanimate in hand, I guess. What can we do about that? Not a whole lot, I would guess. So let's see. Can we do anything smart? Like Automaton first? Yeah, that should be good. Now we just try and make as much power as possible. So Synthesizer. Maybe if we get another Otawara. This is not an Otawara. Can these guys do anything against an Atraxa? I'm putting my opponent at 14. Then they reanimate down to 7. I play this, which is makes a 6/6. That makes it a 7/7. Okay, maybe the artifact is good. I'm trying to do some math here about my opponent's need to chump block, but it's not super easy. They dredged. Ah, okay. This is insane play by the opponent. I really like this. They dredge the Shenanigans. They go Dark Ritual Reanimate. The opponent has mana floating, so that if they find a land, well, I guess we should just check. There's the bad land, so now the opponent can Shenanigans the small construct, and I don't have enough to win here. Ah, that's great play. Just heads up play, knowing what the game is about, the context of what's the potential of the Attraction trigger. So even though you can potentially throw a Dark Ritual out the window, it's just worth it because you know what you can go get. So now the opponent can go just land, Entomb, Animate Dead, Gristlebrand, I just noticed. So yeah, just a beating here. We can check what the opponent put into hand. Badlands, Gristlebrand, Kettle, Entomb, Animate Dead, Looting. Good choices. Very good choices. The opponent's basically just deciding how to beat me here. Looks like they decide a Griselbrand or Archon is the way to go. I don't have a card that can save me here. Even if I didn't look at the top. Alright, that'll do it. The opponent got me here. Great showcase of the Reanimator deck, like where proper sequencing and having a plan, like going to cleanup there is not easy. Like passing the turn 1 and 2 maybe? Without playing a land, like that's not an easy play to find. I enjoy that a lot. Okay, we got to showcase a cool deck today. Yeah, really, this has a lot of potential if the format is, if the format is fair, then this kind of strategy is definitely viable. Then, if it's too viable, you'll see an uptick in, Meltdown, Brotherhood's End, Seeds of Innocence, Energy Flux, Null Rod, and all of a sudden, maybe it's back to the drawing board. So, it's always a metagame deck with these artifact-based decks, but yeah, new tools are always great. And yeah, I'm glad I got to showcase it a little bit today. Like I built some big constructs with this card. Okay, guys, thanks so much for watching. Yeah, I'll see you back next time for more sweet action.